disconnected. They may have connectivity problems, Chair. So I'll proceed with doing the roll call, Chair.
Thank you very much. Please proceed, Secretariat. If we can actually
stop. Mr. McPherson.
Honorable McPherson.
Yeah.
Good morning. Your voice is very low. Good morning. I'm sure you. Welcome.
Mrs. Hermans.
Honorable
Good morning,
Hermans.
Chair. Good morning, everyone on the platform.
Thank you. Good morning, Honorable Hermans.
Mr. Mbuyani.
Honorable Mbuyani.
Chairperson, good morning, and good morning to the colleagues. Thank you.
Good morning and welcome.
Chairperson, Mr. Burns Namache, Chair.
Honorable Burns Namache.
Good morning, Chair, and good morning, everyone.
Good morning and welcome.
Chair, Ms. Mwatse, Chair.
Honorable Mwatse. Unmute. Honorable Mwatse.
Yes, good morning, Chairperson, and good morning, colleagues.
Thank you very much. Welcome.
Chair, Mr. Cuthbert, Chair.
Honorable Cuthbert.
Morning, Chairperson. I'm present.
Good morning. Welcome.
Ms. Mutahum, Chair.
Honorable Mutahum.
Good morning, Chairperson, and good morning, everyone.
Thank you. Good morning.
Chair. Those are all the members on the platform. We can proceed in terms of the rules. We correct, Chair. The other members will most likely join us as we during the meeting, Chair.
Okay. If we can just check if ever they have, don't have difficulties connecting, Secretariat, you can just get someone to follow through and check. Welcome, members. Can we actually have the agenda flighted? I saw that you was trying to connect and disappearing, Margot. Okay. We do actually have, we will check on apologies after I've looked at that. In the adoption of the agenda, we're looking at formal consideration of the reservations of the President in respect to the remitted bills, and then formal consideration of the budget vote. And there's consideration of minutes. So those are 3 items on the agenda we're looking at. Let me actually just check with members if ever we can be able to proceed by you accepting the agenda.
Mrs. Hermans, Chair, raise the hand.
Honorable Hermans.
Chair, I propose adoption of the agenda as tabled.
Thank you very much. There's a move of the adoption. Can I get a seconder?
Yes, Chairperson.
Ms. Mwatse.
Honorable Mwatse seconds. Is there any objection, members? In the absence of the objection, Secretary, we will actually then proceed because obviously in terms of our previous meeting, we're supposed to actually have documents that we'll have to go through and finalize in today's meeting. So I'm sure you can actually then give us the first one on remitted bills, just to see the formal conclusion of the documents and then be able to actually confirm that. I'm sure that's the process we have to engage in or agree to. Secretariat?
Chair, just before we proceed, Chair, just to that I submit the apology from Mulder, who's not able to attend this morning's proceeding, Chair, so that's for the record. He submitted an apology, Chair. Okay. Chair, with regard to the process forward, Chair, we have distributed both reports to members. The report on the remitted bills for the consideration as agreed to at the meeting on Wednesday. Members would have taken it to the respective caucuses. We have not received any input on those reports. So if Margot can flight the first report, Chair, on the remitted bills, we will then look at the report, and then at the end of the process, members will proceed to consider it formally, Chair.
Okay. Thank you, Margot.
Chair,
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
With regard to the remitted bills, Chair, I will just read the top. This is I will just read the second paragraph, and then we'll go through the report, Chair. The Portfolio Committee on Trade and Industry, having considered the Copyright Amendment Bill and the Performance Protection Amendment Bill, and the President's reservation on the constitutionality thereof, have conferred with Select Committee on Trade and Industry and Economic Development, Small Business Development, Tourism, Employment, and Labour reports as follows. If we go further down, Chair, the point 1 and point 2 captures the reservation of the President as table, Chair. So I think members have seen it, and I don't know if we want to go through it, but point 3, Chair, is the most important, is where we those are just capturing reservations as the letter of the President. Okay. Now, the point 3, Chair, is where the committee has pronounced itself. The committee, having considered the President's reservation, reports as follows. The committee, after due consideration and having decided to rather err on the side of caution, agrees with the reservation that both bills should have been tagged as Section 76 legislation, and resolve that it will request the House to submit the bills to the joint tagging mechanism for reconsideration of its classification, and to specifically consider whether both bills should have been dealt with in terms of Section 76 of the Constitution. With respect to the reservations regarding public participation in relation to section of the Copyright Amendment Bill, including Section 12A, which deals with fair use of a work or the performance of a work, the committee agrees with the present reservation and will accordingly request further submissions and that the relevant clauses be advertised for public comment. With respect to the present reservations that clauses 5, 7, 9 of the CAB, inserting subsection 6A, 7A7 and 8A5 with retrospective effect may constitute arbitrary deprivation of property. The committee agrees with the present reservation and would accordingly amend the affected clauses to provide for prospective operation only. With regard to the present reservation that CAB confers substantial discretionary powers on the minister, which may well constitute an impermissible delegation of legislative authority, the committee was of the view that with the deletion of subsection 6A, bracket 7 in clause 5, subsection 7A, 7 in clause 7, and subsection 8A, brackets 5 in clause 9, the reservation becomes moot. The committee accordingly does not have to agree or disagree with the President's reservation related to the impermissible delegation, as delegations are already deleted. E. With regard to the reservation that the copyright exceptions may constitute reasonable grounds for constitutional challenges, the committee does not have to agree or disagree with the present reservations, as is recommending a call for further comments. Constitutionality of these clauses will thus in any event be revisited and any necessary amendments affected. With respect to the reservations that the remittables may not comply with international treaty obligations, specifically in relation to WIPO Copyright Treaty, the WIPO Performance Phonogram Treaty, and Marrakesh Treaty to facilitate access to published work for persons who are blind, visually impaired, or otherwise print disabled, the committee is of the view that the reservation related to international treaties can be dealt with in conjunction with the call for public comments to be done on other reservations. In considering such inputs, the committee may then appraise itself of whether the bill do comply with these treaties or not, and if necessary, effect amendments to the bills. After deliberation, the committee recommends that the National Assembly should consider rescinding its decision on 5th December 2018 to pass the Copyright Amendment Bill and Performance Protection Amendment Bill as 75 bills, referring the bills, Bill 13B, Bill 24B, referred to in 4.1 above, to the JTM to consider whether it agrees with the present reservation that the bill should have been tagged as Section 76 bills, referring the bills, Bill 13, 2017, Bill 24, 2016, to the Portfolio Committee and trade and industry to correct the procedural and substantive concerns in the manner proposed by it and for report, and agreeing to the committee in addressing these reservations, it supports and how it intends correcting it, incorporating in its work the proceedings and all previous work of the committee up to the second reading of the bill. Report to be considered. Chair, that is the report, and those last 3.3 and 4 are the critical issues that the members that we discussed on last Wednesday, and hence the committee need to proceed to consider this report and either adopt, amend, and reject the report. Thanks. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, let me invite members
Mr. McPherson raised his hand, Chair.
Honorable McPherson.
Thanks, Chair. I propose we accept the report. Thanks.
Okay, let's actually get other members. There's a proposal to accept.
Chair, Mrs. Hermans raised the hand, Chair.
Honorable Hermans.
Thank you, Chair. I second the adoption of the report as tabled. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's see if ever there's any objection from the meeting. Honorable members. Without any objection, then the report is agreed to. Secretariat, I'm sure we can actually then move to the next item. The report is agreed to.
No problem, Chair. We can proceed with the next report, the budget vote report, Chair.
Yes, please.
Chair, the same principle will apply. We have considered the report on Wednesday, and if Mark can go to the concluding remarks, we also distributed this report as well to members on Wednesday afternoon, and requested members to take the matter to their respective caucuses. We did not receive any feedback from any party with regard to this report, Chair. So I'll just want the conclusions. I'm not going to read the conclusions again, Chair, or should I? Because I think there was in principle agreement to these conclusions, unless there is. Mrs. Hermans raised the hand, so I'm not sure if Mrs. Hermans wants to comment on the content of the report, Chair.
Oh, okay. Honorable Hermans.
Thank you, Chair. No, it's an old hand, but I think I've read through the conclusions, so I don't think we need to read it again, because I think there was only input from Honourable Thring, and it's been captured.
Correct, Chair.
So
yes.
I think we can just go to the conclusion.
Okay,
Chair,
so you...
Sorry, not conclusion,
yes.
the recommendation.
We can just, if we go to the recommendation, Chair, is that we just, the recommendation reads as follows. The Portfolio Committee on Trade and Industry have considered the 2021 proposed budget, Vote 39, Trade, Industry and Competition. Recommends that the House adopts budget Vote 39, Trade, Industry and Competition. Chair, we have Mr. Mbuyani's hand raised, Chair.
Honorable Mbuyani.
Chairperson, good morning.
Morning.
I was thinking, Chairperson, on the conclusion and recommendation. The last time we spoke, it was not integrated with other comrades from parties. So I wanted just to check where they've been augmented or that has been correction, so that we go through all the conclusions and recommendation for the record, Chairperson. Thank you very much.
Yeah, let me just say maybe thank you, Honorable Mbuyane. The presentation we had the last time, it was actually the African National Congress. There were actually confirmation of someone mute. Let me just say that then the committee did actually consider the presentation proposals from the ANC. We did have other copies. And I think from what Honorable Hermans was saying on Honorable Mbuyane was to say the change that she acknowledged was the one which was actually confirming that there's actually going to be an addition It's actually localization and beneficiation part. But in the overall, the presentation of the items submitted, which is actually part of this report, was agreed to. We are actually just coming through today just to formally consider as the committee. So the suggestion from Honorable Hermans was to say, we don't have to go through because the same thing, the only change was the addition by Honorable Thring. So Honorable Mbuyane, it's fine if ever you say you want us to do the conclusion and recommendation, because on recommendation as well is the part that we have just read. So in the overall, Honorable Mbuyane, the report we discussed, we presented and discussed, the committee has agreed to. It's just a point of making sure that we formally accept the report. So Honorable Mbuyane, it's just a point of saying, do we have to, you're suggesting that we go through? Because it's the same conclusion. We didn't receive any additional points. Let's check, Honorable members.
Yeah, Chairperson, thanks. My view was that we need to go through because now we consider those reports.
Okay.
Initially, we went through because it was just recommendations and so forth in terms of the report, but now we must agree to the report. So we have to go through it and agree in terms of the report. Thank you.
No, I think it's interpretation, manner of approach. I agree with you. Then, members, I think let's actually go to Secretariat. Let's go have the report, go conclusion and recommendation. Honorable Mbuyane is saying, let's formally do that. Conclusions, if you can take it through.
I will read the conclusions as requested, Chair.
Yes.
Point 5.1. The committee welcomed the introduction of the joint key performance indicators, which should ensure better coordination between programs of the department and entities to support industrialization, trade under the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, economic recovery, and building a capable state. The committee supported the DTIC's efforts to maximize its reduced budget by leveraging non-financial tools and its development finance institutions' balance sheets to support inclusive economic growth. In particular, the committee noted the introduction of monitoring systems for localizations and beneficiations, implementation of economic reconstruction and recovery plan, and export barriers. The committee was encouraged by the DTIC's processes to ensure equity and fairness in the adjudication of incentives and non-financial support offered to businesses, including those under the Black Industrialist Program. The committee welcomed the DTIC's plan to contribute to the district development model, which is a government-wide integrated district-based approach aimed at addressing service delivery challenges, improving localization and job creation, promoting and supporting local businesses, while ensuring the participation of local communities. The committee remained concerned about the impact of the COVID-19 regulations on various sectors and highlighted the need for the DTIC to monitor the protected impact on these sectors. The committee raised concerns about South Africa's skewed trade relations with countries. It requested the DTIC to consider measures to manage such trading relationships to promote more balanced approach. The committee welcomed the measures to improve South Africa's ease of doing business ranking, such as the development and upkeep of the ease of doing business website. While the DTIC has measures to improve the ease of doing business and there are intergovernmental technical working groups, the committee noted the need for improved coordinated efforts with other departments to further improve the ease of doing business. The committee welcomed the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement as it presents an opportunity for South Africa to strengthen the regional integration and trading relations, attract and facilitate investment, and improve access to markets for African goods. The committee commended the continued contribution of the DTIC and its entities to the implementation of the economic recovery and reconstruction plan. The master plans for the cane and sugar value chain, retail clothing, textile, leather and footwear, automotive, steel and metal fabrication, furniture, and poultry sectors have been developed and are being implemented by the DTIC. The committee welcomed this and called on the DTIC to fast-track the development of the remaining master plans to assist the chemicals and plastic sectors. The committee is encouraged by DTIC's progress on broadening participation through ownership. It particularly supported DTIC facilitating the design and implementation of worker ownership schemes by the private sector. If we go down to the recommendation, we'll read it again. The Portfolio Committee, having considered the 2021 proposed budget, vote 39, Trade, Industry and Competition, recommends that the House adopts budget vote 39, Trade, Industry and Competition. Thank you, Chair. Now we have to proceed with members moving for the adoption of rejection or amendment to the report, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Mbuyane. I'm sure we have actually gone through the area that we have to ask you as the committee, if ever you are in agreement with the report we have before us. Honorable members.
Chair, Mr. Mbuyane raised his hand, Chair.
Honorable Mbuyane.
Chairperson, thank you very much. I move for the adoption of the report.
Thank you very much. There's a mover for the adoption. Can we get any seconder?
Ms. Mutahung, Chair.
Honorable Mutahung.
Chair, I second the adoption of the report.
Let's check if ever there's any objection or abstention from parties. Any objections?
Mr. McPherson, Chair.
Honorable McPherson.
Just please note the abstention of the DA from the report. Thanks.
DA's abstention. Honorable McPherson, let's actually check, are there any other comments from members? Abstention?
No other hands or Chairperson. So committee report is adopted as agreed to.
Okay. So the report is accepted, is agreed as adopted. And let's actually then proceed to the next item. The report is agreed to. Secretariat, maybe you have to take us through the minutes and then we can actually go, paragraph by paragraph. If you can flight the first copy of the minutes.
Chair, will be the minutes of the 12th, Chair.
Okay.
Chair, we at the last meeting before the end of the session, we submitted this minutes and there was the committee request that we make some amendments to capture and it's the same minutes that we just made. We made those amendments, Chair. If we can just go down to it, if I can recall what amendments were. Chair, but you can take us through the minutes, Chair.
Yeah, no, because it was actually the parties' representation were there, and there's an issue of the issue
of capturing of the. If you go down, Margot, if I may, Chair.
Yeah, maybe go through Secretariat. We'll actually then speak to that.
Chair, I just wanted to. I think there was no problems with what we have. Just it's further down, Chair. It was just capturing correctly the position of. It was just this section 2.11, Chair, and 2.12.
2.12. Okay. Yeah. Can you go through that, Secretariat?
Informed by the submission from the public with regard to shortlisted candidates, the DA supported by the ACDP and Freedom from Plus vehemently imposed the inclusion of Dr. Matsivandila's name as a recommendation for Minister's consideration. They were of the view that as a current board member, he failed to address the numerous challenges facing the NLC. Furthermore, the DA was of the view that the comments of OTA with regard to Dr. Matsivandila's had not been taken into account by the committee in its consideration of his candidacy. Then 2.12, the ANC supported by the EFE, motivated by the inclusion of the Dr. Matsivandila as a name to be submitted for the minister's consideration. The ANC was to the view that because allegations against Dr. Matsivandila had not yet been proven, therefore it should not be disqualifying from not being considered. Furthermore, the Corruption Watch submission did not highlight any concern with regard to Dr. Matsivandila. We captured those. That was issues that were raised for us to accurately capture, Chair. And the other matters, there was nothing.
Yeah.
Further.
So let me just check with the members if ever they're comfortable with that expression, because it was the views of parties which are actually captured on the two parts of the paragraphs. One, and just to confirm that it was actually the accurate reflection of what the meeting agreed to. So those are the views of parties.
Mrs. Hermans raised the hand, Chair.
Honorable Hermans.
It's just something small, Chair. Shouldn't no's have no E?
Come again.
No, they recorded no's as NOES.
We'll double check. I think it's always captured like that, but we'll double check. It's not a problem, Chair.
Okay. So, honorable members, I think that's the area where there was a bit of a point where we say, please express it more fully of the view of the committee. 11 and 12. Are we in agreement with that, honorable members? Is it captured in a way that you actually agree is factual in terms of what took place at the portfolio committee meeting? Members?
Chair, we need a mover and a seconder, Chair, if there's no issue.
Yeah, it looks like there's no issues. Honorable
Mrs.
members,
Hermans, Chair?
Honorable Hermans.
I move for the adoption of the minutes as tabled, Chair.
Can we get a seconder? Honorable members.
Mr. Burns Namashe, Chair.
Honorable Burns Namashe.
I second, Chair. Thank you very much.
Can I check if ever there's any objection? In the absence of any objection, the minutes are agreed to. I'm sure we can actually then move on to the next set of minutes, Secretariat. These one are agreed to. Then you can just take us through.
Chair, there's the agenda item was the briefing by the Minister on the status of the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, as well as the Continental COVID-19 response and Continental Economic Intervention. Chair, members just need to verify if they were present, that we accurately captured their presence. Chair,
Okay.
I think we had the apology from Mr. Burns, Namache, Mr. McPherson, Mr. Mulder, Ms. Yako on the day, Chair. We captured the attendance of the DTI officials, Chair, that were from part of the meeting, Chair. Then we go down. There was just the introduction to what the purpose of the meeting was, Chair. Then the briefing by the Minister, and captured the issues that the members raised, Chair. You can go further down, Margot. And we consider the minutes of outstanding minutes, Chair.
Okay, so let's actually then get from the way other minutes we consider from the same meeting, which are listed there, but in terms of the record of the minutes which we're considering, can I get a mover from the members? Honorable members.
Mrs. Hermans raised the hand, Chair.
Honorable Hermans.
I move for the adoption of the minutes as tabled, Chair.
Can I get a seconder?
Mr. Mbuyane, Chair.
Honorable Mbuyane.
Chairperson, thank you. I second the adoption of the minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I check if ever there's any abstention or objection? In the absence of any abstention and some objection, can I then consider that we have agreed to the minutes? Can we look at the next set of the minutes? These ones are agreed to. 17th of March.
Chair, we had a briefing by the SABs on the progress regarding the implementation of his turnaround strategy, Chair. We also were briefed with regard to the implementation on the special economic zones by the DTIC. We formally considered the second and third quarter report of DTIC's financial and non-financial performance for the 2020-21 financial year. We considered minutes and we considered the second term program, Chair. Chair, members just need to look at the attendance to see if we captured it correctly, Chair. We had an apologies, Chair, for Mr. Burns Namache and Mr. McPherson, Chair. And then the attendance of the DTIC and SABS officials, Chair. We had the purpose of the meeting, and then we had the briefing by the South African Bureau of Standards, led by Mrs. Colts, Chair, and the issues raised by the committee. Then we also had the briefing led by former DG October, as well as Mr. Sikode on the SEZ program, Chair, and captured the issues that were raised by the committee, Chair. We go down. Then we formally considered the DTIC's financial and non-financial report, Chair, for the second and third quarter, and Chair, and then we considered minutes, Chair. If we go down, Margot. And we just look at the minutes and there's capturing the reflection of the decision of that day, Chair. Then we considered the second quarter report, Chair, and the meeting adjourned at 11:52 on Tuesday.
Okay. Honorable members, if I can get your response to the minutes, any corrections or amendments? In the absence, is there any mover?
Mr. Watson, Chair?
Honorable
Yes,
Watson.
Chair.
Yes, Honorable Watson. Honorable Watson. I know you're lying.
I move for adoption minutes.
She moves for adoption, Chair.
I can
move
hear
for-
you. Okay.
Mr. Burns Namache, Chair.
Honorable Mwatse has moved. Honorable Namashe, Benson Namashe.
No, thank you, Chair. I was just checking the Chair whether this meeting was not held on the 4th of May.
No, it's until the 4th of May. So our next meeting refers to until the 4th of May. You read at the bottom. So
this one, when was it held?
it was held on the 17th of March, and at the last sentence would say.
I remember. No, I was not at the meeting because I was at the funeral of His Majesty at the time.
Yes, that's correct.
We did get your apology as well.
So we need another member to second, Chair.
Okay.
Who was present on the day.
And Honorable Benson Namashe, your apology was recorded. Yeah.
Chair,
Although
Mrs. Hermans, Chair?
Honorable Hermans.
Yes, Chair, I second the adoption of the minutes as tabled.
Okay. Let's check if ever there's any objection or abstention. In the absence, the minutes are agreed to. I'm sure, Secretary, that was the last set of minutes we needed to go through.
That's correct, Chair. We will look at the minutes for this quarter at our next meeting, Chair.
Okay, okay. Let me go back then to honorable members. I'm sure that in terms of the adopted agenda for today's meeting, all three items are covered. Let's actually just check the next meeting, Secretariat.
Chair, the next meeting, it's on Wednesday, the 26th, if I'm correct, Chair, because many plenaries are happening from next week onwards. So no meetings has been scheduled during the mini plenary session, because many plenaries take in the morning and in the afternoon, Chair. So our next meeting will be, I think, Wednesday. I'm just double checking, Chair.
Yeah, that's Wednesday, 26th of May. Briefing by the National Credit Regulator Strategic and Annual Performance Plan.
That's correct, Chair.
Yes. Honorable
Chair, according to Parliament's program, there's mini plenaries on vote 9.
On the 20,
starts at 10 o'clock.
Chair,
on the
and-
20,
On the 19th. Oh,
Yeah.
you're saying the next meeting is the 26th?
26th of,
yes.
Oh, well, yeah, no, sorry, I'm confused.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
apologies.
26. We have
Our
no
next
meeting
meeting-
scheduled next week.
yeah. So it's 26 May, Wednesday. We're actually getting the briefing by the national credit regulators on the strategic and annual performance plan. It will be at 9 o'clock in the morning to 12, scheduled. If maybe that's going to be our next meeting. I'm sure, Secretary, that's the correct one.
That's correct, Chair. Chair,
Okay.
Mr. Cuthbert and Mr. Mbuyani raised their hands, Chair.
Let's actually get Honorable Cuthbert.
Chair, tongue in cheek, does this mean that you're spending the whole week trying to canvass for Ward 43? Is this why we're not having meetings?
No, don't go home. Many plenaries must be attended by all members. It's actually a lot of budgets will be passing. So there's no constituency part. You're going to get it later, Honorable Cuthbert. But for now, we're going to be having lots of parliamentary work.
I think they need to deploy you there permanently, Chair.
Well, we can talk about it if ever you actually then join my party. I'm sure the recommendation might be considered. Can we actually then...
I'm fine, Chair. I don't want to be forced to step aside.
You can step, this one is step inside because you have to join the ANC. Step inside. Okay. Secretariat, I'm sure that's the main part of what is our program. Our next meeting is 26 May.
That's correct, Chair.
Okay. Honorable members, I think we've come to the end of our agenda on the items that we have agreed to and adopted. And I would actually ask that we conclude our meetings. So our meeting is adjourned.
Chair, may I
Thank you
request
very-
that you just stay on the platform, that we just have a quick conversation, Chair?
Okay, good. Honorable members.